Think about putting on a VR headset. Suddenly, you're not just looking at a screen, you feel like you're somewhere else. This brings us to the philosophical ideas of embodiment and presence. Philosopher Maurice Merleau-Ponty argued that perception is not a passive act, it is an active engagement with the world, where our body plays a crucial role. Embodiment as a framework emphasizes that our understanding of the world isn't just in our minds, it's deeply tied to our physical bodies and how we move and interact. Immersive technologies allow creators to craft experiences where your entire body is involved in the creative process or the experience of the art. You as artist might be sculpting with virtual clay using your hands, dancing in a virtual environment to create visual effects, or you could be creating environments where your audience can navigate a virtual narrative space with their physical movements, using tracking technology. Artist Melody Musset, for example, explores ways in which embodiment can be projected into virtual spaces. In this example, the objects and environment are responsive to the user's voice and movements. When immersive technology is successful, it can make the viewer feel as if they are really there, and make the mediated experience feel unmediated. This strong sense of presence means that the creative world built in VR or AR feels real and impactful to your senses, allowing for powerful emotional and cognitive engagement. Creators can leverage this to build deeply personal and affecting artistic experiences. Immersive tech moves creative expression beyond purely visual or auditory mediums. It allows for the creation of multisensory, interactive experiences where the user's physical actions and their feeling of being there are central to the aesthetics, what if looks like, and the concept, the ideas, mood and emotions, communicated. Media theory and technological mediation. Marshall McLuhan famously said, "We shape our tools and afterwards our tools shape us." He is also famous for the statement, "The medium is the message." This means that the technology or form of communication itself has a profound impact on how we perceive, understand, and interact with the world, regardless of the specific content it carries. If we apply this to immersive technologies, we understand that VR, AR, and MR are distinct media with their own inherent characteristics. Unlike a book or a traditional film, they can surround you, respond to your actions, and blend digital information with the physical world. This shapes the kind of art that can be created and the way audiences experience it. VR, AR, and MR have specific affordances that can be explored and challenged through innovative design and creative expression. The interactive and immersive affordances can be manipulated and adapted to the artist's creative goals, but always also within the limits imposed by the specific characteristics of the media as well as the capabilities of the system. Each artist or designer can choose to create with as much or little resolution and detail as desired, and as much or little interactivity as desired, within the limits of the hardware and software system used. Interactivity refers to the ability of the user to affect and influence the immersive environment or narrative through their actions. Interactivity is core strength for many immersive projects. Artists move from creating static pieces to designing dynamic systems that respond to the viewer, making the viewer a participant or even a co-creator. This is key for interactive narratives, games, and participatory installations. Sensory engagement refers to how the technology engages multiple senses, sight, sound, touch, haptics, potentially even smell or taste in the future. Artists can compose experiences that go beyond just visuals and sound, using haptic feedback, like vibrating controllers or suits, to add a layer of physical sensation to the artwork. Media theory and technological mediation theory. Building on phenomenology, the study of experience and consciousness, post-phenomenology, associated with thinkers like Don Ide and Peter Paul Verbeek, and Alia Kadina examines how technologies mediate our relationship with the world and even shape who we are. Immersive technologies are not neutral tools. They actively shape our perception, our actions, and our understanding of reality. When you're in a VR environment, the technology is mediating your experience of that virtual world, and in a sense, becomes the world you experience. When you use AR, the technology is layering digital information onto your perception of the physical world, creating a relation of augmentation. Human-technology relations. Post-phenomenology categorizes different ways we relate to technology, e.g., embodiment, hermeneutic, alterity, and background. Immersive technologies often highlight the embodiment relation, where the technology becomes an extension of ourselves, allowing us to act through it in the virtual world. They also create new alterity relations, where we interact with the technology and the digital entities within the immersive space. Verbeek argues that XR technologies create new kinds of human-technology world relations. He describes immersion as a relation where technologies are not just a background for our existence, but rather an interactive context. Augmentation as a kind of relation created with smart glasses, for instance, can be embodied to give an experience of the world, while, on the other hand, they give a representation of the world in a parallel screen. This framework helps us understand that creating and experiencing immersive art is a dynamic interaction between the human, the technology, and the mediated world. Artists are not just using a tool. They are working with a technology that actively shapes the creative possibilities and concepts. At the same time, it shapes the audience's experience and understanding. The design of the technology itself becomes an ethical and aesthetic consideration. As we conclude this chapter, we need to quickly consolidate what we learned. Please complete the quiz to assess how much you understood in this section.